The founding membership of the Abercrombie Foundation? No, these are the ones that collect the money. I knew there was a trick. I knew there was a trick to this deal. Okay. This bill today, and my appearance here today, comes under the category of shameless pandering. Okay. Yeah, see, now the laugh's not so big, right? Because everybody is saying, yeah, well, it's about time, right? Because of the circumstances, I think, of the recession that took place. Took a hammer to a whole lot of people for a whole lot of bad reasons. And the particular vehicles that were utilized, I'm mixing my metaphors now, but the hammers that were used, everything from excise tax and exemption changes and all the rest of it, it reached out to many of, in fact, more than the people represented in this room and the organizations represented in the room. And at the risk of insulting somebody by trying to cite people, I don't want to do that, but maybe not everybody knows everybody in here. And I thought it might be a good idea maybe for us to just introduce ourselves for a very simple reason, because this is a public record after all. And maybe, and I know that some in here have been intimately involved with the passage of this legislation from the beginning, but others are dependent on, have been dependent on your goodwill and your intentions and your fortitude in carrying through. So for purpose of the public record, I want to show the broad range of consensus on this. And so maybe we can start. Helen will go right around the room.
Calvin Takeda, Hawaii Community Foundation.
I'm Fred Palmer, Director of Taxation.
Suzanne Case, the Nature Conservancy.
Kate Lloyd, Hawaii Pacific University.
Jen Chahatovich, I'm the CEO of Polymomi, but I'm here on behalf of the American Heart Association.
Pamela Burns, Hawaiian Humane Society.
Rick Smarrow with Hawaii Arts Alliance.
Colleen Blackton with the Hawaii Arts Alliance, and I'm also the manager at Charles Schwab.
Ginny Tew.
Another charitable foundation.
I didn't want to say anything in case you were thinking that we created the mess.
Ginny Tew, Hawaiian Humane Society.
Marilyn Christopher, Hawaii Arts Alliance.
Hathaway Jacobson, Honolulu Museum of Art.
Stefan Yost, Honolulu Museum of Art.
Howard Garval, Child and Family Service.
Paul Casasa, CEO of ABC Stores and donor.
Lisa Mariyama, Hawaii Alliance of Nonprofit Organizations.
Marjorie Ziegler, Conservation Council for Hawaii.
Barbara Muramoto, Outdoor Circle.
Nikki Love, Hawaii Alliance of Nonprofit Organizations.
Allison Higgins, Hawaii Alliance of Nonprofit Organizations.
Jennifer Creed, Hawaii Alliance of Nonprofit Organizations.
Laura Smith, Goodwill Industries.
Norm Baker from Aloha United Way.
Kevin Chang, Kua Aina
Mari.
Sven Harthoff, the Nature Conservancy.
Maria Townsend, Theater Circle.
The Alliance consists of how many organizations, groups, and even individuals?
Oh, well, we have an engagement with over 3,000.
Okay.
And that's just all kinds of stakeholders. So
right, including donors, right?
Donors, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Good. And obviously the question then, not so much to be resolved with this, but to be addressed is the role of state government as well in partnerships, because the state in terms of its personnel does not begin to cover all of the areas that require assistance, observation, implementation of what otherwise exists in the law. In some respects, many of the people, many of the organizations represented here by the people here constitute those who carry out unfunded mandates. We pass all kinds of laws that require implementation and have sanctions associated with them, but we have no personnel or instrumentation to be able to enforce those laws. I think the Humane Society is the easiest one to cite in that regard. And wondering, I meant to bring in my picture of Senator Key's dog, Keeley, who was overseeing my signature at the Humane Society. Have you seen that? Who hasn't seen that picture? Have you seen the picture?
Love the picture.
Isn't it great? Yeah.
How many dog treats did you have in your pocket?
Pardon?
How many dog treats did you have in your
Yeah,
pocket?
I know. Like I could command the dog to sit there, and for those of you who don't know, I'm signing the bill, and Keeley is literally hovering right over there, supervising my signature.
Canoa was there too.
Yeah, and my dog was there, Canoa, but she wasn't supervising the signature. But I do want you to know that I can pun with the best of them. I signed like an 8x10 of that for Senator He and for Keeley, and I put down a pause for the cause. Yes, PAWS, right. Exactly. Okay, enough of that. So, okay. The bill was introduced by Representative Psyche and Lee, but that is they were the legislative vehicle for the introduction, and we're very happy for that. And it's similar to an administration bill that I also put in. I had conversations with many of the people in this room almost immediately upon the introduction and implementation of the existing restriction, to indicate that I realized that this had to be altered as reasonably quickly as we could, and that as soon as the economic circumstances, which I hoped were going to be addressed in a positive fashion, came into view, that I would be pushing for this. The bill essentially then exempts the charitable income tax deductions from the itemized deduction caps. Pablo understands all of that, and I'm certain that everybody in this room probably has an intimate knowledge of exactly what that means, particularly when it comes to explaining to donors what advantages or disadvantages might accrue to them if they are able and were able to support the particular charitable or nonprofit goal. So the existing legislation then is essentially reversed or eliminated. So we no longer need these revenues from that base. I never thought it was a good idea to begin with. And the reason for it, among other things, is that we want to maximize the opportunity for those in a position to give donations to do so. We want to maximize the incentives for that to happen. It might be an ultimate goal of the species to have everybody in a Dalai Lama or Gandhi-like frame of mind and heart to go along, hopefully with a little cash, but not everybody is in that position, either philosophically or economically. There is also the question of trying to provide an avenue for those who do want to donate, to be able to do so without financially strapping themselves or disadvantaging themselves in the process. The impulse and desire to make donations to worthy causes shouldn't be an obstacle course, or shouldn't be a test of somebody else's definition of what constitutes a moral compass or direction to be followed. The reasons for and against charitable donations or contributions to causes are as varied as the human psyche and the human existence. The measure that I made in this is that I've spent the overwhelming majority of my professional life, of my public life, trying to add up majorities. And I can assure you that in, say, the House of Representatives in Washington, when we were looking for 218 votes in the House, you were looking for 218 green lights up there. I can't ever remember an occasion when I went up to somebody and said, "Why did you give me a green light up there? And if your reason for doing it doesn't coincide with mine, I don't want your vote." So the reasons, whatever they may be, and however they may be judged, it seems to me need to be particularly what is particularly important, that the reasons are highly individualized, and the circumstances and conditions need to be recognized in that context, I think. And I think this bill does exactly that. So the key element here, and I relied on Fred's summation for me, I think, is in the following phrases. There's different items, 25,000 and 50,000 and different numbers that go into this. But the operative phrase here, provided that the cap amounts established in this paragraph shall not apply to charitable contributions deductible under this chapter. Now what that means is that this then, in my judgment of this bill, opens up the entire spectrum of activity for everyone in this room and for the organizations in this room to maximize the opportunity to discuss under what circumstances a donation, collective or individual, can be. Is that everybody's understanding? That this, now what it means is you can now that you've introduced one another, figure out who your enemies are, who has to be defeated here, and to try to get primacy with regard to anybody's charitable contribution. So be careful what you wish for, because now the contest really begins out there. But that's a good challenge to have. It's a good opportunity to explore, and I almost said exploit. But I'll leave that up to your individual conscience as to how that works. This is a do-it-yourself administration. Inasmuch as nobody was charitable enough to help me. Go here. All right. Is anybody? But just one other thing, because everybody works hard. Is there anybody? We're going to now shift into a Quaker mode. And as you know, among the Quakers, if someone is moved to speak, then they do, generally briefly. But if they're not moved, they don't have to. If anybody would like to make a comment at this point with regard to the legislation, I'm sure everybody would be pleased to hear it.
Governor, I just want to thank your administration for the support that you gave this bill from the outset, and also to Fred and the department that did a great job in working with all of us to get this done. So thank you on behalf of all of us for your support.
Thank you, Kellen. I didn't expect that, but now that I've heard it, I'm now going to withdraw the Quaker here and leave that on the record. Okay. HB430 will now become Act 256, Bill for an Act relating to taxation.
Bravo.
Done. Now, let's see. Would you like to take pictures individually or collectively?
Collectively. Probably want to do it by groups, so
Why don't we
go first? Oh, Kelvin, why don't you go first?
Well, no, I'll tell you what. Why doesn't this side of the room come up first, and then we'll take this side of the room? How's that? No, because and if you don't be reluctant to do it. This is a big day, so it'll be a lot of fun. People have a good memory today.
Maybe.
Yes. Stand by. Sure.
Don't be shy. Everybody come up. Right shoulders forward, left shoulders forward. We're all set.